Sería todo estar en el torneo más grande y poder representar nuevamente a Latinoamérica en un evento internacional así de grande.
Panchito, quédate ahí, hermano. El timing ayuda demasiado. El timing le ayuda a Panchito. ¡Panchito! ¡Vamos, larga vida el rey!
Es que es el clásico de la TAM. El Leviatán Crew es lo que va a hacer ese partido.
They'll make him think that he's not playing heaven, and finally he gets
Now he
spotted.
goes back to screen. Yes, have to know.
House is looking for the timing. No flash needed.
Y nada, va a ser eso. Va a ser un partido que todos los dos equipos vamos a dejar la última gota y todo, obviamente, por llegar al Champions. Así que va a ser muy divertido y muy entretenido de ver. Obviamente hay que poner la intensidad y los dos queremos el mismo spot por Champions. Entonces va a ser guerra.
Welcome back to day 3 of VCT Americas LCQ. It's our second match of the day here. It's Leviatán facing off against Crew, the LATAM Classic. I'm me, and joining me on the desk again, got Brendan Josh, joined by special guest Vanity, back with us again. And Vanity, this is a match that it feels like we have seen a million times. Probably the game that has defined Latin American Valorant.
I'd say they're definitely the two biggest staples of Latin American Valorant consistently. Like all the way go back to when LEV was like Astrals or something like that. They've been competing against each other, the cores of these rosters.
Yeah, they've just been battling back and forth for such a long time. And it's very interesting the way that, you know, at the beginning, Crew were on top and they looked like they were looking really good. And then LEV have bounced back. Who knows what the future holds, because Crew look like they're on a little heater.
And this does look like it could be a chance for Crew to kind of become the #1 LATAM team again if they can beat Leviatán. Because in history, it has been back and forth for the longest time early in Valorant.
Economic graph of the recession.
Let me explain this one to you.
It's like the world's worst roller coaster.
I'm an expert on economics, and I can tell you that this shows you that Crew, for all of 2021, was the best Latin American team. They were that run at champions. They were always better than LEV, but they broke through, starting at Copenhagen on the side of Leviatán, became the best LATAM team, and have kind of held that strength ever since. Both teams obviously have had a bit of a drop-off in form since it went from regional matchups to then playing in Americas here, where it becomes a little bit harder. But still, this has been the matchup where it's been kind of decided of who that strongest team is. And beyond just that history of back and forth, this is also interesting because these players have switched around between the rosters quite a bit, Brett.
Oh, there's history there, isn't there? With Kesnet on this team here for Crew and playing against his former team where, you know, was he cut? Was he benched? I can't even remember. I mean, it was like alternated
He
with
was
Taco.
benched and then decided to leave.
You look at the
Veto as
differential
well.
in terms of the numbers as well that this guy's putting up. It's just absurd comparative. And, you know, we always front the question. It's an interesting one, you know. Is Kesnet happier that he's made that decision to play on Crew despite the fact that they went winless in the regular season? Or would he have preferred to be playing on LEV when LEV were going in their own slump? I think it's a difficult question in itself, but this is a matchup where he's going to have so much to play for here. You're essentially just showcasing, hey, you guys cut me, and now I'm potentially knocking you guys into the lower bracket of LCQ.
That's the mad part, though. They didn't cut him from the roster. They made him a sub-player.
Yeah.
So he would have probably seen playtime at some point in the season because Taco has been slumping.
Dominating.
I mean, these are his regular season stats. Do you want your duelist putting up these kind of
Look
numbers,
at
Vanity?
This is hard.
Dude, yeah, the rankings are actually brutal.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah.
It's savage.
I mean, definitely, I would pick Kesnet if I had a choice.
Yeah, look
I
at
think
these
that's
numbers.
pretty clear. But I think that Taco did show a lot of promise last year. And there's like a chance that he does show resurgence. That's pretty much LEV's biggest like win con this tournament. Like they're not going to be able to make it far without Taco performing well. Like the rest of the players don't need to play as well. Like they always play well pretty much. And I think Taco is like the X factor.
Yeah, and Brent, you phrased it as, did Kesnet make the right choice? But I think really right now it's a question for Leviatán if they made the right choice. Because Taco was great at the beginning of the year, but this slump is something they, for Taco individually and this team as a whole, will have to recover from. But Crew, they've had a rough year. They've lost a lot of close games, but then they took a step back. They chilled out during the offseason, and we actually got to hear from Klaus about that one, where he was saying, you know, they took 20 days off, they were chilling out, they had their little vacation, and they really have come back looking so much stronger, Josh.
Yeah, they do. They've also, again, I hate to be the hater, but they've played against two teams that have had
He's on his Duberach. He's actually on his Duberach.
They've beaten two teams.
They have. They've beaten two teams. Platchat Premier beat two teams. Okay?
Yeah.
But we
They
don't
beat
talk
two
about them
teams
as
in
being the
Americas.
best teams in the world, do we? So, yes, Crew are on a bit of a heater, and I do think it was an improvement, and it was necessary that they got that break, because also all of our South American teams, Latin American teams, they looked burnt out at the end of Americas.
Yes.
They looked visibly burnt out, a lot of these players
That's
and
why
teams.
I love the decision that Crew made where they took a 20-day break.
That's a long time.
From the end. 20 days is almost unheard of, but the guys need it. They were living in a foreign country. You think about it, you're living in LA, you're away from home for a significant portion of the season. They needed that reset. It's paying off here. And I have similar questions about LEV, because we know LEV, they're a cold shower team. 5 a.m., 80 grams of protein. God knows what else owners putting them on here, but they are a grinding team. These two teams could not be more different in terms of the ideology, honestly, in the way that they take their practice and schedule. But it's clearly working out for Crew in terms of them taking that time off.
Benny, can you just talk about what effect that has on a player? Because obviously in esports, it's a grind culture. You got to wake up, you got to focus, you got to improve. But constantly playing, constantly making improvements can really be difficult on teams.
I think it's a little different as well because I've never like moved myself to like a foreign country. So I think that like the level of burnout and like stress you experience.
When you're away from your family, your friends,
it's
a different culture, different food.
Even when I move, I'm like a 3-hour flight away from my family or something like that. But for them, it's probably like 12-hour travel.
And I imagine that's still very challenging.
Yeah, and it's like I don't really want to fly 3 hours here and there. So I think it's definitely something that's tough, and I definitely see why it's benefited Crew, and let's see if Lev's grind set works out.
Yeah, the grind set, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can take a look and listen here at what Klaus said himself about the mentality of Crew, and, excuse me, already, we heard about that one. We're knowers about that, but, yeah, Klaus has had that discussion, and I think we should now talk about what discussions Leviatán has been having and what we can expect for their approach. Because to recap a little bit of what happened last season, it really did seem like that burnout may have gotten the better of them.
Yeah, it wasn't just the fact that they looked burnt out individually. It was also that they didn't have the time to sit back and think about how they wanted to refresh their strat book, think of any additional ways in which they wanted to approach the game. Those are the things that were really missing from them. It's not just time to sit back and sip, margaritas on a beach. It's also time to have a little thought process and reflection on how you approach the game and any big picture things, instead of just the grind of week to week. This team's got an unusual approach.
Tail end for Lev's performance, I think, was really... It felt odd. It felt risky at times in terms of what they were playing, almost desperate with how they were playing. And I think a big portion of that was that they didn't really figure out the meta of the regular season, of where you're not supposed to just never adapt and change what you're running. And listen, Lev have always come in with really good, solid ideas. Like, we were copying the hell out of them for our premier matches.
Yeah, they got great ideas.
They got great idees. And if you're not ready for it, they just don't change them up. And so they're really, if a team's counter-stratting you, which you are in a regular season, you have full VOD footage, of course they're going to get counter-stratted. They have a month and a half. I'm curious if they've tried to, address the fact that, they had that bit of a slump as well. I mean, plenty of time to try and cook up some new stuff, so, yeah.
I mean, Leviatán, from what we've talked about them in the past, we know them as that team that is so preparation heavy, the one who comes out into new tournaments and always looks like world enders right at the very beginning. This is the kind of situation where this team is strong, when they can surprise teams, because their fundamentals are excellent.
I would definitely say this is Lev's probably one of my predictions to make it to the finals at least. I think this format does favor them a lot. They have a lot of time to prep, so let's hope they can do what they've done in the past at tournaments and show really good form, because I think the regular season format kind of made them struggle a bit.
Yeah, it was a difficult one for them because it's prepping week by week. They've never really had to play in a format like that. Whenever it was week by week, they were always just dominating in LATAM.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, big question marks for individual players such as Mazzino as a player, I think, that really struggled towards the tail end in terms of adapting his individual game. Because, again, beginning of the season, he was fantastic, but he knew exactly what to do in terms of where he was playing. I think about their ascent anchoring as well when he's playing smokes and the attack side. The guy is so predictable when he's playing that role. I really need to see a bit of a mix-up, I think, from this team in terms of their attitudes, their ideas coming into a lot of these maps.
Mazzino's going to beat up his former team.
You think so?
Yeah.
What makes you think he's going to just recover from the slump, then?
Because the last times that these teams have played, Leviatán's won the last 7 maps in a row.
Okay.
And
that's pretty good.
That's a lot of stats.
It hasn't been close.
Yeah,
the last time Crew won a map against them was June of last year.
Okay.
I hear
hasn't been close.
but also negativity. We've had enough of it. No
positive on Leviatán. Leviatán.
You can't say I'm positive by saying, yeah, they've lost 7 maps in a row. That's such a positive.
Leviatán have won 7 maps in a row. Let me reframe my discussion.
You should work for a politician. You're just trying to spin everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think a bit of time off, a better system that works for them in terms of the format where they can play. They don't have to unveil, radically new ideas, but they just need to change up what they've been doing a little bit. They're coming in here, they're playing matches against opponents that aren't going to be hard anti-stratting them. Yeah, Crew are on a bit of a heater. They've been winning games against teams with stand-ins. They're playing with their coach.
No. Just, I need a break from this guy. I need a beacon of positivity in this world. Luckily, we've got one standing by. Wyatt is on the floor to talk to King on his way in. Wyatt?
Excuse me, King. Let me talk to you. I have one question and one important question only. Did LEV take a break during the offseason?
Yeah, of course we did. We needed that to come fresh, take and do better all the things that we did bad. So yeah, we're refreshed.
Awesome, that's good to hear. Best of luck in the match today. Mimi, back to you.
Brent, do you think he's right there?
Okay,
Have they taken enough of a break? Because I've heard some things on the streets.
I don't want to play into the Doomer scenario here as well, but a little birdie told me, there's whispers, there's rumors on the wind.
We're both in racing, Jacks. I thought we're supposed to be
The streets are talking, and LEV, I don't think have taken that much of a break. I know King was like, of course he's taking a break, but I heard it wasn't much in comparison to other teams, and they've still been on the grindstone, on the grind set, and still just trying to, giga prep, honestly, without too much of downtime, really, to rest and rejuvenate. Bro, I've been working almost every single event so far, and I'm feeling the heat from it. I'm not even playing on the big stage as well at the highest level of competition. Exactly, and I'm exhausted, man. Yeah. So what are they going to be feeling like if they haven't had really that much break? I know, listen, King gave the PR answer. Don't want to call him a liar, but...
But you are going to call him a liar.
But I'm just saying, I've heard conflicting information. Information about having a significant portion of time off to actually rest and rejuvenate.
Josh, first of all, just to double back here for a second. You're saying that he does nothing. This man woke up at 3 a.m., had a cold shower to prepare for this thing. No, he's on the grind set. He's living the Leviatán lifestyle. Can you see the same for yourself?
Yeah. Mate, I wouldn't want to live the Leviatán lifestyle. Leviatán lifestyle is way too disciplined for me. Eating well, getting up at the right hours, working, what?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get back to work then. And Vanity, for Leviatán here, as we've already talked about, they've had this rough stage, but as you're mentioning, they're good in situations like this one. In particular, in their opening matches, it seems like their consistent thing is that they always just win 2 games and then lose 2 games right after. It's very consistent in when teams can't prep for them.
I'd say the biggest thing that LEV struggles with is definitely the longer the tournament goes, the worse they get, right? I think that hopefully this format benefits them because I'm a LEV fan. King's one of my favorite players. But they've had 2 months to prepare. I think they're going to come out swinging and give us a good game here.
You know, it's funny you say they win 2 games, lose 2 games. They've got great win rates in their opening matches. Wow. What happens in this format if they win 2 games and lose 2 games? They would still lose. They wouldn't make champions. Yes. So that's not a positive.
But it is still. But if there wasn't, they only need 1 more. It's only 3 games that they would need to win.
Right. They are deep enough in the bracket that
hear me out, right? They win the first 2, they get a BO5 with veto advantage, double ban.
Okay.
That's a factor, no?
Now, that definitely is a factor. That's a massive advantage, especially with how up and down the map pool's been in LCQ so far. If you can get a read on what your opponents are doing, especially after they've gone through the lower bracket, that'd be pretty huge.
Yeah, and for this matchup as well, like we've been discussing, there's been a lot of history between these guys. These 2 teams have really switched back and forth. Vinny, for you, when you've played against your former teammates and things like that throughout your career in VALORANT, does that change things when you have a team that you're so familiar with their style?
I would say it's a bit easier to play people that you've played with in the past. You kind of, especially because I'm on AGL, right? So the teammates I played with are probably going to think pretty similarly to how I think. So maybe it's not the same necessarily for non-IGLs, but I think most people always have this chip on their shoulder. Even if you leave a team, you never want to lose to them, right? I left you guys for a reason.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm sure for Kesnet today, especially after leaving Leviatán, trying to prove something here.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be a passionate, fiery match as well. I'm setting this up like a romance novel. It's like this kind of matchup here, but between these 2 teams, the amount of history they've got as well. And I do think that you guys are onto something in terms of just this being the time for LEV to strike back and actually do some serious damage in the tournament. Because, again, a month and a half to prep, practice. If one of the biggest criticisms I had of this team was the fact that they didn't have new stuff up their sleeves, that they weren't really adapting too much. They were just doing the same old, What better time to unveil it in a short-form tournament like this? It's a sprint, not a marathon like the regular season, and you have had the time to prep new stuff.
This was their match, the first time that they played it. It was the shortest match that we had in Americas. They obliterated them, beasted them, turned them into a little pancake, and posted them through the door.
Do you post pancakes through the door?
Yeah, frequently. Would you like a pancake?
No, thank you, not from you. I'll avoid that in your house.
I mean, I think something to consider as well is Chambers kind of back. Like, he got a buff, and Taco was a very good Chamber player. So that's something to consider for Lev, right?
King Duelist? Ooh, I'm so down for the King Rays.
But yeah, I think that's something really important to think about is like Chamber is potentially back. He's playable on a lot more maps now. So that could be something that Lev tries to lean on to get Taco activated.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, well, we'll have to see how much he can get activated. But to just give a little honesty to you folks at home, right now there is a bit of a delay on stage, just trying to fix out all the issues before we get the game going. So just standing by for that one. Well, you have to continue to listen to Josh's negativity.
No, it's not. It's not negativity. It's not. It's not. Okay, what I'm looking for in this game is Leviatán to come out and they look phenomenal. I'm not saying that because I want Crew to lose or think they're going to lose, but to me, I'm still waiting for one of these LCQ teams to look excellent, to really show like they could do something at Champs. And Lev have shown like glimpses of that in the past. I want to see it again today.
We're just moments away. Is anyone willing to take the punt? Does anyone think that Crew's going to win today?
I will.
Why?
I'll take it because I spoke to people behind the scenes and they said that Crew were going to win.
Insider trading? Do you have anything better, please?
I think I'll pick Crew just because we need to split the desk.
Yeah, people seem very high and very hot.
Even though I picked Lev to win LCQ, I'll go with Crew today.
People were high on Sentinels.
That's very reasonable. All right, well, we are ready to get into this one. The coaches are standing by. Owner and Adam ready for the map pick. It's Crew versus Leviatán. Let's get this match underway.
Hello and welcome back to the VCT LCQ map pick ban process. I'm joined by here Crew and Leviatán, and it looks like Lev is going to be the first seed. So what do you guys want here for Team A or Team B?
We want Team B.
You want Team B? Yes. And that's going to go ahead and leave Crew with Team A. That's going to give you guys the first ban.
We want
Fracture. And for you guys on Lev?
We want Ascent.
Banning Ascent. All right. So Crew, what's going to go ahead and be your first pick?
Split.
Split for the first pick. Okay. And Lev, in response, what side would you guys like?
Defense.
Defense on split. All right. And for you guys, you get to now pick in response.
Would be
Lotus. Okay. And Crew. Defending on Lotus for the pick. And Crew, you guys go ahead and get to ban. Banning Pearl off the pool. And for Lev, between Haven and Bind.
Bind.
Banning Bind. And that's going to go ahead and leave our final map as Haven. And that's going to leave Crew to pick the side.
We attack.
Attacking on Haven. All right, thank you guys very much for that.
Thank you.
El clásico latino se toma las pantallas de este LCQ. Con 2 victorias, siguen luchando Davis, Klaus, Melzer, Kesnick, Naxet y el entrenador Atom. Con ustedes, Crew Esports. Del otro lado, haciendo su debut en esta competencia, tenemos a Massino, Shai, King, Noswer, Tacolilla y el entrenador Onur. Ellos son Leviatán.
Notice some fighters, ain't nobody higher. You don't need a lighter, I'm bringing the fire. Nobody better, they feel in my presence. I'm known as a legend, but you call me sire. I'm too legit, man, I overcommit. Oh no, I never quit, but I'll make you retire. Say you a winner, but man, I don't buy it. Addicted to grinding, man, you gotta try it. I don't want nothing for free. I'm here to work. Only one spot for me. I gotta be first. I'm who they all wanna be. Come to your worst. I've been through the dirt. I've been through the dirt. I don't want nothing for free. I'm here to work. Only one spot for me. I gotta be first. I'm who they all wanna be. Come to your worst.
The top spot in Latin America has switched back and forth twice, but it's always been Crew and Leviatán at the precipice. Leviatán had a rough end to their season, but they've come back after a month and a half off and tried to recover, to renew what made them good to begin with. It seems like the tournament format that would be strong for a team like this, but Crew has already looked hot in their first 2 games.
I think Crew are also just so fired up, honestly, to try and take that title back as well. You know, just that competition between the 2 teams regionally when they've had that history between them. It's been such a long time since Crew has been in any sort of semblance of form to even consider taking away from them. Maybe now is the time to strike. They're on a bit of a heater. They've had a hard time of it in LCQ. You know, they've had to play back-to-back matches. You think about it, it's a difficult schedule for them so far, but that's the way these tournaments run.
The map veto also not great for Crew. The maps where they've been doing well look like they had success on Ascent, on Bind. Both of those not in this map pool. I'm a little confused about why Leviatán have gone towards Lotus.
Yeah.
I didn't like the look with Taco playing Raze that they ran in the last 2 matches, but maybe they've got different ideas or they've been working on it heavily. I'd like to see different compositions from Lev in general throughout this, but I don't think they need to mess too much with map 1 and map 3. They could still run double duelist here and I'd be all right with it.
Already into the agent select, and Davies is locking in that chamber here, Vanity. On the side of Leviatán, though, what comp do you think they're going to go to? Is it a change or going back to what they know?
Looks like they're going back to what they know because Taco's on Jet, and I would assume that they'll stick with the double duelist that they've been running, which I think makes sense on Split, and hopefully they just like revamp their playbook. Yeah, it's looking like it's going to be the exact same thing here.
Yeah, I think that's all. Well, the thing is also, they haven't played this since the last time they played against Crew. So it's not like Split was one of those maps where it looked tired and old and like they'd played it over and over and over again.
They tended to avoid it.
Yeah, so this to me isn't even really a map where you're going to be bothered if Leviatán haven't brought so many new things, but I'm definitely looking towards that as we get deeper onto Lotus and onto Haven. This one is just, can you dismiss Crew with better players? Because their roster, in theory, should be so much better. They like picked apart the best pieces from Crew and stole Kesnit and Mazzino at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and I'm curious as well for Crew. I think there's going to be so much on the shoulders of Kesnit already. We hyped him up as the player to watch for as well, but with this composition, you're not running the double duelist. It's not like he's got another player to play off of. Davies on the chamber is going to be quite locked down. It's a lot slower on the attack side. I do wonder how it's going to work out because there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders.
Double duelist versus the Raze and the chamber. This Latin American rivalry has delivered in the past. We'll have to see if Crew can flip the script and return to the top as we send things over to the casters. It's Vansili and Rivington on the call.
Whoa. Thank you so much, Mimi. And as much as we have an El Clasico usually on the international stage between like an Energy and a Loud, we have an El Clasico here for Latam between Crew and Leviatán. And to start things off here, Rivington, on Split, it's going to be a very interesting one because they mentioned it on the desk. They've only played it once. Well, they played it once before, but Crew actually got dismantled. I think it was like a 13-4 scoreline on that one. So hopefully Crew has something new in store.
Yeah, Crew actually, if you look at those splits all the way back to January 1st of this year, it's just a red block. So hopefully they can find...
It's been blue lately.
It's a little bit better. But yeah, this map pool, like the desk was saying, seems to be favoring Leviatán coming out of the gate. Crew has good momentum here, but they have had to show their play the last 2 days to their opponents as we come in to this last chance qualifier match of Crew Leviatán, the 2 Chilean teams. Now to go head to head.
And indeed, when we see a classic matchup between these 2 teams, it's only fitting that we go back to the classic HUD. So to kick things off now on the defensive side, we do have Leviatán. Mazzino is going to be the first point of contact as we have a recalled smoke. All of Crew getting ready to run in right away. Support coming from Nosware as this raise on the back. But Kesnet once again strikes first until Leviatán fights back. And it's back and forth now until the advantage still comes in for Leviatán, leaving the Lurk by himself. Spotted by the flash. And Leviatán's getting ready for that right away.
One thing that never takes a break is Leviatán's ability to stay confident in the way they're guarding a site. Mazina didn't even really back up in that situation. They only called for more support, stayed right in the face of Crew's attack, and didn't give an inch of B site. Spike down now, and the roam around here from Nagzet to try and find any sort of damage. Leviatán starting off with a brick wall defense at B. And just one more kill to finalize here.
There's always been one thing that's really good here for Leviatán, despite a slower or a bad ending, if I put it this way, during that first season of the Americas, is that discipline is something that's good. Look at all three of them watching that spike, not overcommitting, jump spotting, and even in the off angle, King strikes for the last kill, and Leviatán scores first.
Nice quick start, keeping quite a few members alive. Kesnet almost picking up a few there to start them off. Klaus and Kesnet have just been having hell of a series in these past two. Davies as well. You can almost call on every member of Crew here, and I think you're going to have to again today. This buy now coming in from Leviatán. They'll set up pretty default defense. And it looks like a little bit of a mid-work here from Crew. We may find this going over towards A once they get this control on A-ramp. A big lurk from Nagzet's going to be important this round.
And that flash to try to find info, actually. Nagzet got behind it! And gets the headshot instantly onto Dakulia. But immediately Shy comes in for the trade-off. And even Crew looking to gravitate very slowly to try to punish back on the A-ramp, hopefully salvaging a weapon behind. But meanwhile, Leviatán decides to fall back to play the off-angle Shy. Once again, it's going to be the first contact jumping across. Delay off the flash, allowing his teammates to set up here in the back of the site towards A. And even the over-rotation comes out, which is a good opportunity now for Crew, if they want to go for the Evan to mid split.
Site isn't really stopped if they want it, but dropping in is what they're unsure of. This is going to have to be very careful. They want to source a little bit more information out of Leviatán before they make a move. It looks like it might be spawned to B.
Pushing towards the spot indeed. Spike falls. Shy! Landing with the Guardian still. And Davies, no bullets left now in the Headhunter. Left with nothing but the classic. As he crosses over, it's got to get spotted by King. But Mazzino sweeps that kill away. And Leviatán, clean second round.
Leviatán showing they're not going to fall into these little traps that Crew is trying to set. You can have A Heaven all you want. It's something we've seen teams be doing a lot more when you don't just dive into the site because there's not a double duelist to do so. That A Heaven control gets taken. You wait out your opponent to see if defense makes mistakes, and Crew reading that through and through come up with a second round. But now it's about the bonus. Leviatán, rather, read that through. Now it's about Crew's bonus here. And now, still across the map, a little bit more strength goes to that side with Nagzet's Viper as they put the chamber towards A ramp now.
You got it right. Gun round now for Crew. Bonus round now for Leviatán. Judge in the hands of King, having to play it very close at the staircase, but he's pushed away already by pressures of the rifle from Crew up on mid. So Leviatán looking to fight back towards the A main. Flashes, nades. Crew doesn't want to fight that yet. You hear the rotate across so we could get a heal up here from Shy. But that means that Leviatán has forfeited the B Heaven site. Off the peak, Dakulia gets punished. Nosware looking for a surprise if he can. And Crew they decide to repel back here towards mid.
Leviatán have removed themselves from all sites so they can play together here. They want to try and be just a little further forward to take Crew off guard. And Nosware trying to come through a little Mission Impossible through the vent gets detected by Kesnet.
But all this time gives King an opportunity to reposition himself close, right around the corner. This was identified early though. Can it be cleared? Just a fake clear, but at least a trade's there for Crew. Klaus picking that one up. Entering towards the site, tip of the spears of Mazzino is holding towards the bottom. That's two with the Spectre, but the spike has fallen down. There's only 20 seconds left, and Davies picks it up for a plant.
Teleport's ready.
It's got to be a safe one.
Yeah, and actually there's two players alive. Nagzet with the support too. Shy flashing forward, but gets dropped as he falls. And Crew managed to get the first round here on split, but they lose 3 players in the process in their gun round.
They roll through the bonus round without too much work necessary. Great movement up mid. They find their first frag off a dry hit when Leviatán was re-peeking that rope area, and slowly Crew worked that advantage. I was just praising Leviatán for not giving up those little kills in the round that would put them on the back foot. Let's see if they go back to this sturdy defense. A little bit of a stack towards that B main area. This could prove very useful against Crew pushing now. But the spike is down, so this is just Crew playing to touch and go.
And Takalia.
A touch.
Vanity was mentioning it there before that Takalia had to be bringing up some great performances. At least gets his one and good information to allow the rest of Leviatán to get these trades. Control on middle. And as it was attempted, though, you just saw King fall down. So advantage goes back to Crew. You still have that lurk coming through on both ends. Davies on the B main, nags it up on middle, punished by Nosware. But it gives an opportunity for Crew to plant.
Spike planted.
Good smoke. Just to allow this defensive positioning.
Caution here.
Flash available from Shy, pops it out. Discovers nobody behind the default spot. Crew's playing the crossfire setup. A nice smoke here to allow Davies to be very aggressive. Just got spotted by Shy, damaged a little bit. Nelzer moving forward. Oh, tuck into utility, but Nelzer still gets the kill. Shy now having a clutch. Not gonna happen. Nelzer with the wall bang, and Crew tie things up.
Davies there making a move out as well. Just a consideration, playing around the tight moments. And we see Nelzer, however, coming up with those last few kills, anchoring sites, whether it's alone by himself or during the post plant. Melzer has been playing so well throughout these series for Crew, and able to pull up a few pivotal kills right there. I think one of the things we have to look at for Crew and even Leviatán towards the end of the season, Leviatán beat Cloud9 on split. They feel pretty comfortable here. Crew coming very, very close to the same thing with Furia. Even just recently in an overtime match, they lost that. So both teams know exactly what they want to do here. It's just who gets that momentum. We've heard it said over and over. Momentum just seems like a key word here at the LCQ from teams when they're interviewed.
You are divided.
I knew exactly they want to play aggressively on an attempt on middle. It turns out to be a trade, and Crew's looking to move immediately towards the A side. Showstopper now available for Kesnet, trying to clear the back of the site. As we turn around the other side of the grab well. And also the toxic screen! Nagza gets picked off. No kills from the Showstopper. Up to the rifle now of Kesnet towards the back of the site. Nice little headshot. A second one then off the King. Looking to swing for the third, but gets denied by Shy. Up to a 2 versus 1. Advantage for Leviatán. Melzer now moving in. The lurk for the clutch. Misses the shot, does get the dig through the wall. Knows that Menzino was there though from that other shot. Now he can isolate 2 individual duels. The first swing out does not connect. The other one does.
Melzer again?
Opportunity to refresh and reload, but then a swing like no set from Elbow! And Melzer gets the Red Bull clutch!
Melzer does it again! And even having to get the swing. Incredible. Crew had no right winning that round, and Melzer makes it true. They take just a 1-point lead here, but that is going to play with the mental of Leviatán not being able to pick up these rounds that are already in their grasp. Ultimate ready for Klaus here to get Seekers on the round. If they don't get information in the beginning, they can suss out Leviatán instantly. Oh my gosh.
Great redemption by Melzer with the amount of shots that he missed there on that flank early. Exactly. Already was spotted early on the top of the ramp. Pushed back now by utility from Crew. And it's one of those classics of seeing the operator, pivot on the other side here. So Crew meeting up with everybody else on that B side of the map. But they haven't gained too much yet. Still a lot of utility available now for Leviatán. 4 delays.
We just saw Davies actually on the mini-map dodge out on a Trailblazer. So Taco's still going to have to add line of sight to this A ramp.
Ooh. Okay, King's gonna suffer that. Receiving a couple of bullets through the smoke. Looking to swing through the smoke as well. The flash not affected, but still Klaus gets the kill. Klaus has been amazing as a Sky player so far throughout this LCQ. Shy looking to do the same thing in the same role. Gives his position away. And Crew activating behind the Seekers to try to take him down. Shy was ready only for that one, but a beautiful trade comes out from it. With the operator out is going to be Takulia, hit by one of those Seekers, defended by the Cloudbirds, and then close range Davies with that lurk. As you just mentioned here, with giving opportunity for Crew to plant, and now we're going for another type of classic. Leviatán saving.
Just about every round, we are seeing Leviatán, or sorry, Crew go up through this area into the vent and being able to make themselves available for a kill, finding Leviatán trying to come through in rotations, and Crew is really not using a lot of utility to do this. So their second hit can be just as strong. Incredible stuff. Lev's gonna have to change up the way they're doing defense on this right now because they're just losing too much ground each time. And this one person being down gives Crew the entire control of the map.
Yeah. And it's been basically what happened to Crew yesterday when they played against Furia. The amount of time that Dijuzine was very aggressive and doing a lot of punishments on first entries, but punishments on middle as well. When you actually did see Nagset trying to work that area on defense or picking off, so Crew's learning a little bit of that. They're saying, okay, on the attack, we had some good has as well here on split. Maybe we could work the same mid side. Remember, this is not unfamiliar territory for these two teams. It's not the first time nor the second time that you've seen this head-to-head. So at some point, you know the play style, and you could maybe punish a little bit more.
And I mean, this would be the turnaround round, but it could be Blade Storm is up. Yes, it's a lower buy by Leviatán, but it almost needs to be a time they turn this game around.
Yeah.
Otherwise, these rounds for Crew right now in attack are so huge. They get all these rounds and go on defense against a double duelist team, you're gonna want every round you could get on attack.
So there's the first opportunity updraft, but there's two players waiting there. Both of them usually being the lurk players are working together on the extremity of the A side, punishing the Blade Storms out from Takulia as Leviatán was trying to get some information behind that Trailblazer. For the rest of Lev, cutting their losses, pulling back towards the site, being more reactive now.
So last time, what, we had Mazine falling in rope room. Now we have another one down. Crew starting off with these 5v4s and seemingly converting them. Again, this repeats the last round strategy. The slow work up mid, you have one towards A ramp, maybe two. And they get all this space for free and pressure out on Leviatán. And they have nothing really to detect it, right? This isn't a Cypher game. There's no chamber on the side of Leviatán. All this space has to be played by a member
30 seconds
of the team.
Nice on the wall. Nobody really checks that corner, but he uses on top of that the toxic screen on the attack for the surprise kill. Spike has fallen. Noswer holding it back. Advantage for Leviatán as there's only one player left. And Nagset has clutched it before, but not this time around as Noswer puts his foot down. And Leviatán put the third.
Noswer and King getting the crowns on that one. Had to not gone down in A heaven there. Crew was about to just waterfall into sight and make that very, very troublesome for Noswer and the rest of the team. So that pivotal round, like we said, even on the low-ish buy there, we need a Takulia's ult, who still needs to find a little bit more in fragging just to get that momentum for himself into the game. But
good.
He's still trying, right?
Yeah.
You're putting up these attempts. Goes down, gets the info that does lead to the ability to capitalize on the round. It's real tough right now. It doesn't look clean, but Leviatán is squeaking a few back in their favor.
The ADS here from Mazzino now gets punished, stuck in the corner. Pain shells in the back of the billboard. Nova Pulse hits him, but at least there's support there from Noswer, and the Nebula also came up to not allow Crew to push their attack now towards B.
Great ult mid. Force Crew's hand. Now up to Mazine to hold, or King rather, to hold this.
He's gonna have to dance in there for sure.
Little shorty dance. He's waiting for somebody. It always looks like Crew want to put 3 towards mid. They're gonna actually back off of that. But I think Leviatán is recognized how strong mid has been, especially when you don't have a double duelist comp. You need mid to work the map. And now Leviatán are getting that more online. They are not allowing Crew that safety of control of the middle.
Very interesting here, trying to figure out with these Seekers if there's still pressure up on that mid, because look at how far pushed up Takulia is towards that A side. Looking to rotate towards the spawn. More delays now. That's what you need here on towards B, so that the lurks could actually work here. And the flank could actually happen. But still, unfortunately, it's Leviatán falling so far as they drop 3 on Crew's side. This time, Viper's Pit out on the attack. King looking for the heroic play. Inside the pit right away, denied by Melzer for the 3rd into the round. And Takulia, nothing you could do here. Had great positioning at first, but with his teammates falling down, there's nothing more you could ask for him.
That was just the entrance of B being smothered in utility by both teams. And that timing, Crew had to enter the site. They swarmed the members. You just see all the X's for Leviatán. I said this before, when they, one more from, obviously we saw King go down, but all the X's falling in sight. Leviatán do not like to back up and give that position if they feel like they have the call, if they've read their opponent. As Taco picks one more up. And sometimes being that close, it's hard to trade, it's hard to adjust. And Crew come up here as Taco, looking for one more, gets hunted down. Oh,
trying to keep that.
Stays alive though.
Yeah, okay here for Crew to chase it down. They still have a lot of money to work with. They've compiled a lot of these rounds, stringed them in a row. But at the end of the day, you could definitely see it here. Looks like we might have a timeout being called. If not, just a quick reminder, the round just happened here. Crew winning that one.
Yeah. And it becomes tough, right? We just saw Lev win a round. So then Crew wins. This means Lev's money is going to start taking a turn for the worst. They've been able to accrue a bit here in economy, so they're all right for another sort of buy. We did see some Vandals with light armor, and I think a few more should come in, maybe a Spectre along the way. Whew.
So 5 to 3.
The crowd's ready.
Exactly. Always been present this time around are the Crew fans, but of course we have a lot of Leviatán fans in the crowd as well. And it's always good times. Camaraderie from the fans, from the teams. I even see the coaches talking together behind the scenes before they start their matches. I'm loving what I'm seeing from these two teams. But remember now, you see at the bottom now, 5 to 3 in favor of Crew, as they have had great successes on their attack side against Furia. So it's nice that they started things up right away when they had the opportunity to get that weaponry, get the weapons, get the rifles rather, as they lost the pistol in second round.
Gun rounds have been very strong for Crew here.
Exactly.
They know the win condition of their composition. They're not trying to get Kesnet to do raise, jump, and duelist things. Kesnet's still a part of the Crew when all of this is happening, right? You cannot try and extend this and branch it out like a double duelist comp. You have to have 2 going into sight. Instantly, just goes short, right? Calling out audible cues, trying to get Leviatán to react with their own utility, but that was not up the ramp.
And this is okay, something that Crew also likes to do, maybe not force the hand yet onto a ramp, because they give a lot of responsibility onto their chamber, being Davies ADSing around the corner, just around the radius of that rendezvous rather, so that they could actually leverage him to get the pick off the Sky utility. Hold it slow or picked up now for Crew, as there is that scaling, there is that slow work now from Crew up on a ramp.
Good push up here, all the way on the outside of B main for Leviatán, that kind of allows the rest of the map to understand, hey, you can focus A, start to stack a little more towards the side. And that's exactly what Leviatán has done, readying themselves for this attack from Crew.
Both teams now waiting for the utility to stop from the toxic screen from both Vipers. A late alert from Melzer trying to get a timing.
What?
As they go for the pinch from Vents over to mid. Another player falls on B main on the push for Leviatán. So already Crew, a 5 to 3 scoreline and a 5-on-3 situation.
How many gravestones for Leviatán are in that rope room right now? From round after round, they keep losing one. Kesnet drops another, and this instantly goes in favor of Crew. The moment they just make that snap judgment to execute, to push forward, to use the Cosmic Divide, when does a Cosmic Divide just start everything for you in a round, Van Silly? Oh my word, that's in the sight, that's post-plant. That's when you're hitting.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're just doing it different right now and throwing Lev for a loop.
And even leveraging that Cosmic Divide when you did have a smaller buy, a half buy for Leviatán. They had a perfect read in the beginning to have so many players on that A side. Definitely watching those games, you have to give credit, of course, to owner over at Leviatán and the coaching staff. They're definitely the coaching team that works around the clock to try to anti-strat as much as they could, or at least understand how their opponents would play. But at the end of the day, also, what Vanity mentions is sometimes a team just shoots better than the other, and so far it's been proven.
This is actually one of my favorite things to see how they executed. It's off simple, kind of, not misdirection, but simple action. Nothing happened in that round until an ability went out, until something else was on the scoreboard. And sometimes you can use that microsecond of your opponent looking up to the map, looking up to the right. That's exactly how we saw the kill in B main and events happen. Just falling asleep at the wheel at the right second, and Crew made the move. Kesnet actually tries to go in by himself for once and gets stopped.
Beautiful gravity well, actually.
Yeah.
Snakebite was a little bit too late. You saw the sprays trying to happen through on that grav well when the smoke came up towards B heaven. This time the lurk doesn't work. Shy was waiting behind, anticipating at least one of those players from Crew. If not Davies, going to be Nagset lurking around. And for the first time in a while here, Leviatán scores first, but Kesnet immediately turns it into a 4v4.
King falling in mid has to stop here for Leviatán. Crew continues to find a free frag there, and now they work to B heaven.
Over aggression towards the spawn, almost catching one off guard was Kesnet. Looking back up, spotting two players towards the B side. Mazzino's anchoring down as much as he can, but it's back on a 2 versus 2. But one of them is so damaged and low. That's Shy falling towards the back of the spawn.
Good flank here.
Kesnet chasing after it. And Takulia has an opportunity now. Dash up. Kesnet's low on HP. But nice. Wow. Swing, pendulum swing from last two players of Crew to allow Crew to get the 7th round.
Crew locking in all of the rounds. They get back to 9. What is that? The same thing they did against Furia, I think? But then, yeah, we don't talk about the second half there for Crew. But 7 on attack already, going against the double duelist team that's about to switch sides. You want all the rounds you can get because they are going to try to punish their way into each site. And Leviatán is hemorrhaging way too many of these first bloods right now. Crew continues to go mid, find one, and the map is theirs. Now, Leviatán says, no more mid for you.
Trying to flash through this potentially, or just going for the contact. Contact instead. Read by Crew. Look how passive they are right here. A dash across, breaking across our placement. Takulia with the sheriff kill. But Kesnet still got one on his own. Mouser watching a push from the B side. Advantage back for Crew. Now it's just going to be pretty much a team deathmatch at the bottom of middle. Spike is down out the open towards market. And one is pinned. That's Takulia. Pinned to the wall, drop down. Only King remaining.
Really well absorbed here by Crew, only losing 1 so far. Lev at this point is trying to do as much damage as they can, right? The round win is always going to be a boon. But Crew is managing this pressure quite well. They'll get themselves to B and get a plant here as King roams around for a final frag. And what a first half here from Crew. Split being on the docket was a big question mark, but it seems like they feel they can make the moves that would get them the W here. As Davies goes down.
Has been a lot of rounds tallied up here for Crew. Waiting a little bit longer, maybe until they start moving out here to not allow King to save his Phantom. But you can definitely see here that any type of play that Leviatán's trying to do to prevent Crew from getting any type of like early pressure, early control has always been shut down right away. Crew's doing a very good job continuing to work all the extremities of the maps. All the extremities of the map, rather, simultaneously. It feels that's what you need a little bit more now from Shy, for example, as this guy trying to find that piece of information from cycled flashes, trailblazers at the minute mark, because you're not getting too many advantages from bringing up those seekers time and time again. Because it's just Crew all around so far this first half.
Leviatán fans cheering that in for one of the final rounds here, the first half, to get this last one in. 8-4 would feel much better. Again, they go for the B main pitch. Kind of just hold extremities closer, if you can call them extremities, on split, but just getting up in the face of that starting wall to hear where Crew is, get a little more info. And you feel like Lev almost should have been doing this sooner. Crew are still getting that space for free, though, to attack A Heaven.
Yeah, Shy's playing towards the A site, though. He's ready to try to flash up on Heaven if he can, but this time decides to fall in the back of map. Well, already, Noswar has rotated around from the ropes, from the vents.
My God.
Thing on the other end. As the Showstar comes out on the defense, Noswar does get the pickup with the Phantom. It's going back and forth, but still a 3-on-3. And we're just battling on the top of Heaven with the spike being down. Showstopper then out on the attack, allowing Crew finally to have some room to breathe. As through the POV of Davies. Taco Leo gets the pick. On a 1 versus 2, Bladestorm activated. Oh! Cloud's play inside the smoke and allows Crew to put 9 on the board against Leviatán's 3 on the half.
This is like everybody was using vanishing smokes in that, or just on the other side of the wall in that round. Mayhem, absolute mayhem Crew decides to go for on their final round. And that's one of the best ones. Set the momentum before the halftime. Leviatán has to put up work here in the second half.
Yeah, they definitely do, but at least the silver lining right now for Leviatán is that they are playing double duelists.
They're on
their
defense,
side. A little bit harder to do. It was hard for them to get activated, but hopefully they can here on the second half. The Crew definitely looking good so far. Feels like they've come alive now all throughout this LCQ. And we also had a chance to speak with Klaus about it, about what's changed and how he's feeling, or how he's feeling now heading into the third match today.
Más o menos no cambié mucho mi método de las cosas, sino que trabajé mucho más lo que es mi mental, trabajé mucho más lo que fue mi preparación, mi forma de pensar, mis pensamientos negativos, positivos, y yo creo que eso todo me está jugando a favor, y también obviamente que tener un aprecio de la gente, de ver todo el esfuerzo que yo estoy dando y para que las cosas pasen, eso, y ver que la gente lo ve y me felicita por eso o me apoya por eso, me pone muy feliz, porque obviamente pasé por una mala etapa, pero bueno, acá estamos de vuelta y ya basta, ya dejé todo atrás y vamos de nuevo.
Working on yourself inside of game and outside of game. Making sure that mental is sturdy, not just thinking, oh, that was a bad game, but reflecting on things. It definitely helps you to approach it better the next time, and definitely seeing a bit of progress in that way, if you will, for Kez.
Individually, has been, like we just mentioned before, top performer as a Sky for this team. I also want to give a little bit of praise to every single player, actually, of Crew Esports. Nags has done a great job so far being activated, too, as the last pillar, the one that has to clutch, the one that has to anchor on defense, and has done a really beautiful job, actually, and Crew looks complete. Night and day from what we saw throughout the regular season. In the inaugural season of the VCT Americas. As now Leviatán has a chance to strike back. We haven't seen this team in a fairly long time as well.
Yeah.
A chance for them to shine, a chance for them to actually, have less games to play with. Remember, this is, yes, their match now, but they've already watched 2 other maps of Crew previously.
Right.
So there's definitely a lot of tape here for Leviatán to focus on, which is potentially why you're looking at the maps that we have currently. It's not many maps here that Crew has played throughout the last 2 days, with the exception of this one right here, which hopefully Leviatán will strike better on the attack as they go with their double duelists in the site, both denied.
Very good call from Crew. I was just about to start this one off saying, we remember Crew plays defense. They like to play patient and come back with everybody, not in your face. So it was up to Lev to show what were Lev going to do, because we have not seen the games, and it looks like they wanted to go just as fast. Like you said, duelist down. And this does not look good here. Starting off possibly 10-3 is Leviatán just trying to dodge out all this utility. Spike still rotating up through this B Heaven, so Shy might be able to get a good rotation over it since King has awareness on A.
Exactly.
It's just hard to commit to anything with 3 people.
Everything just looks so good for Crew on this setup. 4 players towards the B site, solo anchor on A, trademark spotting 1 player.
Yeah.
So that forces Crew to do a lot of jump spotting, and they actually did see a player on the top of B Heaven. This time around, though, for Leviatán, it's not one, but two, as Naxa gets punished right away. Outside, the Poison Orb gets recalled. Beautiful flash coming out. We're trying to fight back as much as we can.
Spike down B.
But Kesnet just continues to anchor towards Hell. And from Hell, actually throws the pain shells and grabs Benzino with him to Hell. And Crew wins pistol.
That was a very nicely placed pre-nade there, just considering the situation would happen. And it did indeed. 10-3 now for Crew here. A dominating first game so far on Split. And they just stave off the comeback now. That thing that looms in the back of their minds and adds a little bit more pressure in the LCQ. They look happy in their positions right now, and the team's flowing. They move this B strategy defense over to A for the side of Crew, and Leviatán's gonna have Spike down, even to start off second round, to try and get a little bit of information before they commit.
Yeah, they got the Shikos, so
great damage.
Trying to get value out of all of this.
Slow.
Long range battles, waiting for that second wall to come down, and there's that first contact, and they both fall. As Takulia and Shy trying to pick him off.
That was sick! They dropped the wall, making it their time. Wow, absolutely awesome way to create your own angle off the second wall. Simple things, simple frags, and Crew again up in a 5v3.
There's not much here that you could ask for the remaining players of Leviatán. I mean,
here.
Already another one is low on HP, and that's Benzino. Spike on his back. You need a miracle right now with the three players working together. Up towards mid. Potentially spotted now by the trademark left behind. Won't force sound a peek though from Crew.
Never, not at this point. Now when Crew's ahead,
yeah,
you have to basically find them in the woodwork now. Straight through to vent.
30 seconds
Evan's
left.
still grabbed here. King has had really nice movement to get into this position, but not a but. That's an and Klaus goes down.
Yeah, that's really nice. King has heard all of this before. The rotation to jump peeking from Crew towards that A site, manages to get that opener and almost damaging on the second kill. Picks up the Bulldog now, as it's time for Leviatán to play the pulse plant. All of Crew getting ready to push out from screens.
May the shots ring true here for Leviatán. This is going to be tough.
They don't really have the biggest crossfire setup though. Nobody's towards elbow.
No, they don't.
No flashes for Crew, so they're just waiting for that smoke to dissipate. Melzer had his knife out, but the trades are still not bad. As there was only one left alive, you are happy that you had the player advantage there for Crew in order to get that round.
King here, just about all. Same with Kesnet, and Davies saves that round on the trades back and forth. Again, we see that protocol that Crew uses, even with a few members left there of the side of Leviatán. And there again, where Crew dropped their wall second. I love that. But they're able to pick this up off of trades and patient retake. Everybody filing in, even if it takes jumping in with your knife out to figure out where the opponents are. They're just doing it all. All right, Takulia on the front here, but we're not actually getting the raise. So not utilizing the double duelist as we come into this first bonus round just yet. They're still gonna work the default on the map. And the double duelist is down. Oh, and two are down.
Spike down A.
What in the world right now?
At least they still have that duel. Got that raise there.
It's like, I just feel like there was no effort in those swings. And Kesnet's like, thank you. It seems like Leviatán is just out of sorts at the moment.
Speaks a lot about Kesnet from the first game till now.
Ridiculous.
Who continues to be an unstoppable force. And not always being the tip of the spear for Crew, because you do definitely have the supporting teammates that actually puts all these numbers up to. So you're not asking too much for him, but when you do, he's pulling out these stops. So well on their way to try to win this bonus round for Crew. 11-3 on the scoreline. As finally, Kesnet gets stopped by King. Anchoring towards this B site. Nagzet only has this Sheriff to work with. Hiding behind the Nebula. Mazzino's creeping forward, and there's just too many players against him.
The rotation over comes in. Leviatán should be grabbing themselves around. In the middle of this round, the lurk that happened, obviously Crew's feeling a little safer, but Leviatán found where they need to go. King's been in heaven. He's kind of had control of mid, and he's getting frags and information that can help these rotations from Leviatán. Uh-oh.
That's one of those players that I wanted to say has been stepping up here where you didn't really need Kesnet that much. That's Klaus. Flash does get the blind onto King, trying to flick up onto Nosware. But at least he gets information on both. So that allows Davies to try to get some sort of victory here in the position. But King can't forget him as the IGL, as this Viper. When you need somebody to carry the team on Leviatán's side, it's definitely this man right here.
Ever so slowly, we see Leviatán creeping back on this one, getting that economy in a place where they can afford to try a few different strategies. And really nicely played by the team there. King's actually hiding over there, right? Towards Raze, which means their opponent's gonna have to take a long walk through that Viper's Pit to take damage. So overall, played really well. Good mindset now from Leviatán. Even being down, they're ready to take the fight to Crew. Straight up through mid here. Little different. Usually you got a double duelist going right for B main or A main.
Look at that. Kesnet getting the pressure right away, forces out the Showstopper!
Oh, again, Taco down first!
To push Takulia away and also contacts with the Showstopper. Advantage once again for Crew. And a change of position on the defense too. Looking at this man right here, Davies was working together now with Klaus to make sure that they could control, the A ramp and prevent alert from happening for Leviatán. Crossfires are too perfect.
Spike down mid.
All up to Madzino now. Work your way up there, but only dropping one. This is a dominant Crew here on this first map so far.
Kesnet's fifth kill in a row, fifth kill of the map, 2 in a row just in those last 2 rounds. And it continues to hit Takulia. He dies first again, and that one wasn't even like, oh, that's a mistake. It's he gets hit by a Showstopper through the smoke, and these things that continue to wear away at Leviatán to make these rounds that much harder. Crew continues to add on and find a way to do it again. Incredible stuff, and the answers that Crew is finding in the moment there. Not to mention he's 14-2 on first kills, first deaths.
Yeah.
That's gross.
Yeah.
Kesnet is.
Definitely has been the story so far of how much success Crew has been getting in that first blood category. And at the same time, Leviatán not always looking like the best team in 4 versus 5 situations. When I see Leviatán on 4 versus 5, I'm just thinking about the good old 4-player save on A site on Haven, which would go to that map if needed be. I'm excited to see that one. Hopefully. I'm holding the script. We should get a 3rd map, right?
Yeah. And Crew looking to mark something off their own script here. If you think back to June 11th, 2022, that's the last time that Crew took a map off of Leviatán. So 401 days. Let's end that. Let it be known. No team has ever beaten them. Crew here. Game point on this map.
What a great moment. A great opportunity to get their first map win in all of those days when it matters the most now during the LCQ.
Okay.
But off the timeout,
we're double dueling.
Leviatán definitely want to use that aggression, allowing the Stinger to get the first blood in favor of the attack side. King watching the lurk, watching the push, watching the rotate.
King again.
Good for at least those 2 kills, and Melzer about to get sandwiched and pinned. Madzino is on that late lurk. And now we see the good old Leviatán.
Yep. There it is. Taking things into their own hand. I feel like the round has just been almost gifted to Crew if you're giving them 30 seconds. Giving them more position. Push up and B main, figure A is controlled. Yeah, hit it off the rip. Leviatán seems so much more comfortable going with that speed, causing chaos, and now they're going to pick up another round. It'll be 12-5 after this as Davey keeps himself alive. And they just hide this one out.
Yeah, Crew on their end. Salvage a couple of those weapons on that A ramp from the aggression of that mixed buy that they had, of course, backed against the wall. So you want to save these weapons now. Going into round number 18. Still map point. Whew. For Crew.
Seeker's ultimate here. Crew can identify whenever they want. What's going on down on the side of Leviatán? Looks like we're gonna have a lot of mid pressure here. 4 mid to start off, just to reassure the fact that they can control and then spread out. Oh my gosh.
There.
They may be doing a little bit of a ring around the rosy here eventually.
Yeah. Which is fine. Controlling this middle. You mentioned those Seekers could be used on a retake if they have full control now of B main. But Menzino's the one that's trying to watch it. So what, 2 players maybe? And instead of going right around the rosy, it's straight ahead. Face front, behind the Seekers. Tagalia updrafting on the top of the balcony, pushed away by all of these Seekers out from Klaus.
Terrifying.
Doesn't give a chance for Leviatán here to get any forward position. So a big responsibility for King now on a late lurk at mid. You can see the Cosmic Divide getting ready to get propped up by that Astra. Nazar pushing towards the spawn. Denied right away by Davies, and the numbers are dwindling. Only 3 left needed. Only 1 left needed. That's King. You need everything here. An ace, a clutch, but the players are already on that spike. Too little, too late. Naxit with the kill, Crew with the defuse, and Crew with the first map.
Solid play by Crew. It didn't seem like they were scrambling at all. Even being able to come back on rounds where you had Leviatán coming back, what was it, round 4 or 5? Crew's like, no, we'll take that right back on 6 and run with it. In the sights, First Bloods just owned it. Map control, owned it. And from the attack side, they knew they had to get a huge amount of rounds to be able to stave off this double duelist squad, which I feel like Leviatán did not feel comfortable playing.
Yeah. Well, they did well last time, I think, when they played against each other on this map. It was still that double duelist and still looked like it was night and day, but it's still a night and day performance, rather, is what I'm trying to say from Crew.
Exactly.
When they ever brought this this chamber out for the composition now, but Klaus continuing to put these numbers up. Kesden also in this roster. And when they also played against each other in that first time on Split, remember it was also Ashity in the in that roster.
That's
right?
true,
So,
yeah.
Crew coming back to their original roster that they built up with, and throughout this LCQ is doing another miracle run.
We do have Lotus next. That's gonna be a big one for these teams, and Crew's gonna put the pressure on again.
And we're gonna find that out after the break between these two teams, with Crew in the lead by 1 map.